Hi guys, and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to be speaking with you about people pleasing and self-neglect, where it comes from, why it might be happening in you, and also how you can discern between what is people pleasing and self-neglect and what is just being unconditionally loving. Because it can be a little gray zone there that can be hard to discern. I know a lot of people who are people pleasers just feel like, oh, it's just because I care so much about people and I just want everyone to be happy. And it just comes from this very loving place. But when we look at it from a subconscious level, it can also actually stem from a deeper level of fear, a deeper level of trauma, a deeper level of needing to feel safe. So, first of all, people pleasing. Let's get clear on what that is. You have probably experienced it at some level in yourself, maybe to a large extent or maybe to a small extent. Basically, it's just choosing another person's needs before your own. And there's nothing wrong about that. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that in relationships, especially as parents. Parents have to do that a lot, but that's a whole different realm. I'm not talking about if you are a parent right now. That's completely different. I'm talking about with friends, in romantic relationships, just in general in your life, how you prioritize your needs in comparison to other people's needs, and also your emotions in comparison to other people's emotions. So where does it stem from? So people pleasing most of the time stems from childhood. I always go back to childhood. Obviously, it can be genetic memory and ancestral memory and all of that, but we're talking about this life now. And if you grew up in an environment where there was toxic emotions, where there was a lot of anger, where there was a lot of stress, where there was a lot of uncertainty, where there were people who weren't able to be there for you, or people who just didn't treat you very well or did not meet your needs, or if their state meant that your sense of safety was taken away, then you form this internalized belief that you need to keep people happy in order to stay safe. So that meant that if someone else's emotion is not happy, is not stable, that meant that you are in danger. So as a child, as a young being in this world, you took on the responsibility of micromanaging other people's emotions and micromanaging other people's states. So as soon as someone around you was in a not happy state, was in an uncomfortable state, in a state of anger, distress, anxiety, you name it, you felt this internal need to resolve that in order for you to feel inner peace so that you could feel okay because your sense of safety was threatened. And what happens, what's really interesting when we have subconscious reprogramming from an early age, it's also possible that you don't even have any memory of threat and danger in your early childhood. And that's what developed the people pleasing. So for example, myself, just a little backstory, my father was a very aggressive person, and that's why my mom had to leave him. There was a lot of anger, there was a lot of emotional volatility, and it was just unsafe environment. But when she left, I was very young, so I don't actually have any memory, conscious memory of anger, of disruption, of threat, of danger. But everything that happens to you is stored in every single cell in your body. It's stored in your subconscious, it's stored in your memory bank, it's stored. So on a cellular level, there is memory of that. And what happens then is the internalized belief of that when someone is angry or when someone is in distress, my safety is threatened. And that's where the need to make sure that people are happy comes from. And that's the people pleasing part. That's what distinguishes people pleasing from just being unconditionally loving and caring for other people. So then what happens is that we bring that up into adulthood. And, pleasing other people is great. It can feel amazing. That's when it comes from an unconditionally loving place. But when you're people pleasing, you're constantly setting your own needs aside. Because if you are people pleasing and you're prioritizing another person's emotion, another person's need before yourself, what ends up happening is if you do this to everyone around you, first of all, it takes an immense amount of energy, of spiritual, mental, emotional energy, because you're constantly scanning and micromanaging everyone's emotions. That requires a huge amount of attention. So a large chunk of your awareness and your attention is going to scan everyone around you to make sure if everyone is okay, if everyone's safe and stable. And then number two, the extra energy that comes on that is if someone is in distress and you feel this natural, I need to fix them feeling, then you're pouring your energy into that as well. So all of your energy is going away from you. And the part of you that may have some emotional needs yourself, the part of you that may actually have some boundaries that needs to be set, gets totally ignored and neglected. Because the amygdala and the primal part of the brain just goes safety first, safety first, safety first. So this is a very, very deep, deep, deep rooted programming that we are not even conscious of until we become aware of it and we can change it. Done a lot of work on this, because what happens when the memories are so early is that it goes from the prefrontal cortex into the hippocampus, stored as memory, then it actually travels down the spinal cord and into the stomach and into the neuronal patterns in the stomach. So it actually becomes unconscious. And that's why a lot of people say they can get a gut feeling about someone. Oh, I have a gut feeling about this person. I have a gut feeling that person is to something, off with that person. But then which action do you take from that? Do you set a boundary with that person, or do you go to people please? And this is where I want to shift you from. I want to shift you from, instead of micromanaging everyone's emotions, to have a more holistic view of the situation and see, where are you in relation to this person right now? And where are your needs in relation to this person right now? So before we go into that, just want to wrap up that the consequences that come with that is that you may neglect your physical health, you may neglect your emotional health, you may neglect your energy, you may neglect taking care of yourself, you may neglect taking care of your business. And what happens is sadness can appear. You may feel like you never have your needs met. You may feel like you're tired and depleted all the time and you don't understand why. And you may also have some thoughts of like, but I love taking care of people and it's so giving and it's so nurturing. But why do I still feel depleted? It's because of this imbalance of prioritization. You have totally neglected that you are a human being in this equation that also needs care and attention. And it's your responsibility to prioritize that first. So that's when we come into the distinguishing of people pleasing and unconditional love. Because unconditional love is something that you also need to have for yourself. We also need to be okay with is how people respond to your boundaries. In any situation, when there's people around you and you notice that you want to people please, you notice that you want to make other people feel okay so that you can feel safe. Just having that awareness in and of itself is step number one. So instead of immediately tending to another person, check in with yourself first. Do I feel full? Do I have the emotional and mental capacity now to take care of this person? Do I have the energy to hold space for this person? Because it can be people that you care about as well, of course. It's not like we're just surrounded by dangerous people all the time. As adults, most of us, we learn to choose better people to be around. So it could just be the people that you care about and you're still people pleasing. So before you go to tend to them, because you also love and care about them, check in with yourself first. How am I feeling? Do I have space for this right now? And that's the start of the journey of empowerment. And what happens when you begin to start to do this evaluation first is that you may notice, actually, I don't have the capacity or the bandwidth right now to be here for another person. I need to take care of myself first. In that instance, and whatever action you choose to do then, maybe you do some work, maybe you do a meditation, maybe you're doing going for a walk, maybe you're just hanging out with yourself. You are letting more of life force energy and attention to come to you. And this recharges your batteries. It makes you stronger. It amplifies your electromagnetic field and your heart, because that is an act of self-love. So it's really, really, really important to step into acts of self-love. Also, you become a better person for other people when you can hold space for them. when you're behaving like this. You have the energy, you have the space, you have the capacity to be there for them. And they will feel that. You know the feeling that it's totally different when someone is there for you because they feel like they just kind of have to, and when someone is there for you because they actually genuinely want to. So the quality of your presence when you are then there for another person is so, so, so high compared to if you're just doing it as a knee-jerk reaction or because you feel like you have to or because you're just concerned and you need to fix the situation immediately. So step number 1 is take a moment and assess where you are at in yourself before you tend to another person. And that's when you begin the transition of people-pleasing to unconditional love. Because then you're operating from a place of unconditional love for yourself and for another. If it is emotional support, give them emotional support. If it is a solution to a problem, see what solutions to the problems that you can find. If it is a mental reframing, see how you can help them reframe their perception of what's going on. So if you do notice that you have people-pleasing tendencies, which is a form of self-neglect when you're prioritizing others before yourself, this is my loving invitation to you to become aware of that. It's so, 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 so important to fill your own cup up first before you tend to others. Because then you can avoid going into burnout, then you can avoid going into depletion, you can take care of yourself, and then you can be there for others. So this doesn't mean that you're not going to want to be there for people anymore, you're not going to want to show up for people anymore. No, it's the opposite. You will have more love to share because you've given yourself so much self-compassion and love that it will begin to overflow, and you can share that then with other people. And then what happens is that this form of unconditional love enhances your relationships. It builds more intimacy. It builds a stronger connection. You will have a deeper connection with your friends. You will have a deeper connection in your relationships. And it also builds trust. Because when you are showing others that you can manage your own state, that you can manage your own needs, that you can set boundaries, it builds trust. They know that they can rely on you. They know that you have backbone. They know that you have ability to speak your truth, and they can trust that you believe what you're saying. So it builds trust, it builds a strong foundation in your relationships, and it makes you better able to be there for other people as you're there for yourself first. So it just benefits everyone. So choose yourself first, and then you can be there for others. This is my message for you today. I hope you take it with you. I hope this is helpful, and I will see you in the next video.